March 21, 1976, Aspen, Colorado, 3 p.m. An Olympic ski champion lies dying in the bathroom of his own home. A .22 caliber bullet has torn through his abdomen. Blood pools on the expensive tile floor of his luxury chalet. Standing over him, holding the gun, is one of the most famous women in America, a French singer, actress, and the ex-wife of entertainment legend Andy Williams. She's crying. She's saying it was an accident, that the gun just went off. But the forensic evidence tells a different story. The angle of the bullet, the position of the body, the distance between them. Nothing about this shooting looks accidental. Within hours, this case would explode into one of the most sensational celebrity trials of the 1970s. A story of fame, jealousy, cocaine, and a justice system that seemed to bend for the beautiful and famous. This is the story of Vladimir Sabich, an American hero who conquered mountains, and Claudine Longet. Ode, we're heading to the glittering, troubled world of 1970s Aspen, where wealth, fame, and scandal collided in the most deadly way. Let's begin. Before we get to that fatal afternoon in March, we need to understand who Vladimir Sabich was, because he wasn't just another athlete. He was an icon. Vladimir Peter Sabich Jr. was born on January 5, 1945, in Sacramento, California. His parents were Yugoslavian immigrants who came to America seeking a better life, and they found it through their son. From the time Spider could walk, he was on skis. His father recognized his son's natural talent early and pushed him hard. By age 10, Spider was already competing. By his teens, he was dominating. Why did they call him Spider? Because of the way he skied. His legs would spread wide as he carved down mountains, looking almost insect-like, quick, agile, impossibly balanced. The nickname stuck. In 1968, Spider Sabich competed in the Winter Olympics in Grenoble, France, representing the United States. He finished fifth in the slalom, an impressive achievement that put him on the map internationally. But Spider's real fame came from the professional skiing circuit. In the early 1970s, he became one of the most successful and highest-paid professional skiers in the world. He won race after race. Sponsors lined up. Magazine covers featured his handsome face and athletic build. Spider wasn't just a skier, he was a celebrity, charismatic, charming, the kind of guy everyone wanted to be around. And in 1970, he settled permanently in Aspen, Colorado the playground of the rich and famous, where movie stars rubbed shoulders with Olympic athletes and cocaine flowed as freely as champagne. Spider bought a beautiful chalet on Starwood Drive, one of Aspen's most exclusive addresses. The home had stunning mountain views, expensive furniture, and all the trappings of success. By the mid-1970s, Spider Sabich had everything: fame, money, talent, and the admiration of millions. But in March 1976, all of that would end in a bathroom with a single gunshot. Now let me introduce you to the woman who would change and end Spider Sabich's life. Claudine Georgette Longet was born on January 29, 1942, in Paris, France. She grew up during World War II in a time of chaos and hardship. But Claudine was beautiful, talented, and ambitious, and she knew how to use those qualities. In the early 1960s, Claudine moved to Las Vegas, working as a dancer. That's where she met Andy Williams one of the biggest entertainment stars in America. Andy was a crooner, think Frank Sinatra-level fame, with hit songs like Moon River and his own wildly popular television variety show. Andy fell hard for Claudine. She was exotic, French, delicate, and charming. They married in 1961, and Claudine became an instant celebrity by association. But Claudine wasn't content to just be Andy Williams' wife. She wanted her own career, and she got it. Throughout the 1960s, Claudine Longet became a pop culture sensation in her own right. She recorded several albums, soft, breathy French pop songs that charmed American audiences. She appeared on Andy's television show regularly. She acted in films and TV shows. She became a fashion icon, known for her innocent, doe-eyed look. Claudine cultivated a very specific image, the sweet, delicate, vulnerable French ingenue, soft-spoken, childlike, harmless. But behind that carefully crafted persona was a woman dealing with serious issues. Andy and Claudine had 3 children together, Christian, Noel, and Robert. On the surface, they looked like the perfect American family, but the marriage was crumbling. Andy was constantly working, touring, recording, filming his TV show. Claudine felt neglected and lonely. There were rumors of affairs on both sides, fights, resentment. In 1970, Andy and Claudine officially separated. By 1975, they were divorced. But here's something remarkable. Even after the divorce, Andy Williams remained deeply protective of Claudine. He continued to support her financially and emotionally. He stayed involved in her life in ways that seemed unusual for an ex-husband. This fact would become critically important later. After the divorce, Claudine moved to Aspen. It was the place to be in the 1970s if you were rich, famous, or both. Hunter S. Thompson lived there. Jack Nicholson had a home there. It was glamorous, wild, and full of sex, drugs, and parties. In Aspen, Claudine met Vladimir, Spider, Sabich. They were introduced at a party in 1972. The chemistry was instant. Spider was everything Andy Williams wasn't: athletic, adventurous, younger, only 3 years older than Claudine, and free-spirited. He represented excitement and danger. Claudine was everything Spider found attractive: beautiful, sophisticated, cultured, and connected to the entertainment world he was starting to enter as his fame grew. They began dating. At first, it seemed perfect. But as the months passed, cracks began to show. By 1975, Spider and Claudine's relationship had moved fast. She wasn't just dating him. She had moved into his Aspen chalet with her 3 children. To outsiders, they looked like the golden couple. Spider, the ski champion, Claudine, the elegant French singer, both beautiful, both famous, both living in one of the most exclusive communities in America. But inside that beautiful home on Starwood Drive, things were deteriorating. The problems were multiple. Asterisk 1, Spider's career was declining. In 1975, Spider suffered a serious back injury. For a professional skier, a back injury is catastrophic. He was forced to take time off. His racing career, the thing that defined him, was in jeopardy. Spider became depressed. He was used to being on top, winning, being celebrated. Now he was at home, in pain, uncertain about his future. Asterisk 2, Claudine's career was over. Claudine's singing and acting career had essentially ended. She hadn't had a hit in years. Her wholesome image was outdated in the edgier 1970s. She was living off alimony from Andy Williams and whatever money Spider made. She felt purposeless, forgotten. Asterisk 3, drugs were everywhere. This was 1970s Aspen. Cocaine was as common as coffee. Both Spider and Claudine used it socially, and perhaps more than socially. Cocaine makes people paranoid, irritable, volatile. Asterisk 4, the relationship was toxic. Friends later testified that Spider and Claudine fought constantly. About money, about the kids, about jealousy. Spider reportedly wanted Claudine to move out. He was tired of supporting her and her 3 children. He felt trapped. Claudine, on the other hand, was desperately trying to hold on to Spider. She had already lost one famous husband. She couldn't afford, emotionally or financially, to lose another high-profile relationship. Some friends said Spider had started seeing other women, that he told Claudine it was over, that he wanted her to leave. Claudine allegedly threatened him, said she would make him pay if he left her, said she couldn't survive another abandonment. The stage was set for tragedy. March 21st, 1976 asterisk started like many other days in the Sabich household. Tense, uncomfortable, filled with unspoken resentment. Spider was home, still recovering from his back injury. Claudine was there with her children. At some point that afternoon, Spider and Claudine were alone in the house. The children were out. What happened next would be disputed for decades. Asterisk 3:00 p.m. March 21st, 1976. Spider Sabich was in the bathroom of his Aspen chalet. According to Claudine's later testimony, she walked in holding a .22 caliber pistol. Why did she have a gun? Claudine would claim that Spider had been teaching her how to use firearms for self-defense, that she picked up the gun to ask him a question about how it worked. She would testify that as Spider reached for the gun to show her, it suddenly discharged. One shot. The bullet struck Spider in the abdomen, tearing through vital organs. Spider staggered. Blood immediately began pouring from the wound. He looked at Claudine in shock and disbelief. "Claudine, what did you do?" Those may have been his last words. Spider collapsed. Claudine started screaming. She called for help. Paramedics arrived within minutes. They found Spider barely conscious, bleeding profusely. They loaded him into an ambulance and rushed him to Aspen Valley Hospital. But it was too late. Vladimir Spider Sabich, 31 years old, Olympic skier and American hero, died en route to the hospital. At the hospital, doctors confirmed what everyone already knew. The gunshot wound to the abdomen had caused massive internal bleeding. There was nothing they could have done. Meanwhile, back at the chalet, police arrived to secure the scene and interview Claudine. And that's when the inconsistencies began. Pitkin County Sheriff's Department *** responded immediately. This wasn't just any shooting. This was the death of one of Aspen's most famous residents, and the shooter was the ex-wife of Andy Williams. The media would be all over this within hours. Detective ** Jim Burge was one of the first officers on the scene. He found Claudine in the living room, visibly shaken, crying. She was wearing a nightgown, despite it being the middle of the afternoon. "It was an accident," she kept repeating. I didn't mean to, the gun just went off." Detective Burge asked her to explain exactly what happened. Claudine gave her version. She said she had picked up Spider's .22 caliber pistol because she wanted to ask him how to use it. She walked into the bathroom where Spider was. As he reached to take the gun from her to demonstrate its safety, it accidentally discharged. "It just went off," she said. "I don't even know how." But as investigators processed the scene, several things didn't add up. The forensic evidence was troubling. ***1. The angle of the shot. The autopsy would later reveal that the bullet entered Spider's abdomen at a *** downward angle ***. This suggested that, when he was shot, he was either bent over or kneeling, not standing upright as Claudine's story implied. If Spider had been reaching for the gun to show Claudine how to use it, he would have been standing. The trajectory didn't match. *2. The distance. Forensic analysis suggested that, when the gun was fired, there was ** distance between Spider and Claudine, several feet, not the close proximity you'd expect if you were demonstrating how to handle the weapon. The powder burns and bullet trajectory indicated she was standing back when she pulled the trigger. *3. The gun's safety mechanism. The .22 caliber pistol in question had a ** safety mechanism ***. Experts testified that it would have required deliberate action to disable the safety and pull the trigger. It wasn't a gun that just went off. *4. Spider's clothing *. Spider was wearing pants and a shirt when he was shot, contradicting Claudine's initial implication that he might have been showering or partially undressed in the bathroom. *5. No defensive wounds. If Spider had been reaching for the gun, you'd expect to see defensive wounds or signs of a struggle. There were none. All of these facts pointed to one conclusion: this wasn't an accident. But then, the investigation began to fall apart because of ** police mistakes ***. Detective Burge and his team made several critical errors that would haunt the prosecution. Mistake 1. The blood sample. Police took a blood sample from Claudine at the hospital without obtaining proper consent or a warrant. When that blood was tested, it showed traces of cocaine in her system. This was potentially explosive evidence. It suggested Claudine might have been under the influence when she shot Spider. But because the sample was obtained illegally, it was ruled inadmissible in court. Mistake 2. The diary asterisk. Police searched Spider's home and found Claudine's personal diary. In it, she had written entries that contradicted her accidental shooting story. There were references to arguments with Spider, fears that he was leaving her, and emotional distress. But again, the diary was seized without a proper warrant. It too was ruled inadmissible. These procedural errors would cripple the prosecution's case. March 22, 1976, the day after, Claudine Longet was arrested and charged with reckless manslaughter criminal negligence, not murder. Why not murder? Because prosecutors knew they had a problem. Without the blood sample showing cocaine use, without the diary, and with Claudine's consistent claim that it was an accident, proving intent would be nearly impossible. Manslaughter was the best they could hope for. But even that would prove difficult. Because Claudine had something most defendants don't have: unlimited resources, a brilliant legal team, and the full support of one of America's biggest celebrities. The trial began in January 1977 nearly a year after Spider's death. Aspen had never seen anything like it. This wasn't just a trial, it was a media circus. Reporters from around the world descended on the small mountain town. Television crews set up outside the courthouse. Photographers swarmed every time Claudine arrived. And Claudine played her role perfectly. Every day, she arrived at court dressed impeccably: soft colors, demure dresses, minimal makeup. She looked like a grieving widow, not a defendant on trial for killing her boyfriend. And standing beside her, every single day, Andy Williams, her ex-husband, the man she had divorced years earlier. He sat in the front row of the courtroom, holding her hand, offering support. Andy not only attended the trial, he paid for her entire legal defense . He hired the best lawyers money could buy. He gave interviews defending Claudine's character. He essentially put his own reputation on the line for her. Why? That question fascinated everyone. Some said Andy still loved her. Others said he was protecting the mother of his children. Some whispered darker theories, that he knew something, that he felt guilty, that there were secrets no one knew. Whatever his reasons, Andy's presence was a masterstroke of public relations. It sent a message. If Andy Williams, beloved, wholesome, famous Andy Williams, believes in Claudine's innocence, shouldn't you? The district attorney's office faced an uphill battle. Lead prosecutor Frank Tucker knew his case had been damaged by the police errors, but he tried to build a circumstantial case. Tucker called expert witnesses who testified about the downward angle of the shot, suggesting Spider was bending over, not standing upright. The distance between Spider and Claudine when the gun was fired. The impossibility of the gun accidentally discharging, given its safety mechanism. Several friends came forward saying Spider and Claudine fought constantly, that Spider wanted her to move out, that Claudine was desperate to keep him. One witness testified that just days before the shooting, Spider had told him, "I need to get Claudine out of my house. She won't leave." Another witness said Claudine had made threats. "If he leaves me, I'll make sure he regrets it." Prosecutors suggested that Claudine, facing abandonment by another famous man, snapped. That she shot Spider in a moment of rage and jealousy, then concocted the accident story. It was a compelling narrative, but it was all circumstantial. There were no witnesses to the actual shooting, no confession, no smoking gun, no pun intended. Claudine's defense team, led by prominent attorney Ron Austin was masterful. Their strategy was simple: paint Claudine as a tragic victim. The defense portrayed Claudine as devastated by Spider's death. She testified tearfully that she loved him, that she would never intentionally hurt him, that the shooting was a horrible, tragic accident. "I didn't even know the gun was loaded," she sobbed on the stand. "I just picked it up to ask Spider about it. I would never. She broke down crying. The jury watched, moved. The defense hammered on the police errors. They argued that the illegally obtained blood sample and diary proved the police were trying to frame Claudine, that they had violated her rights, that the entire investigation was tainted. "If the police have to break the law to build their case," Austin argued, "what does that tell you about the strength of their case?" Andy Williams testified on Claudine's behalf. So did their children. So did celebrities, friends, and associates, all saying Claudine was gentle, kind, incapable of violence. The image they painted was of a delicate, innocent woman caught in a terrible accident. The defense brought in their own forensic experts who argued that the shooting could have happened the way Claudine described. They suggested alternative explanations for the bullet angle and distance. Were these experts credible? Debatable, but they created enough doubt. After weeks of testimony, the case went to the jury. The deliberations took days. The jury was split. Some believed Claudine's story, others thought she was lying. But the burden of proof was on the prosecution, and that burden was high. Finally, on January 14, 1977 the jury returned with a verdict. Not guilty of manslaughter, but guilty of criminally negligent homicide, a misdemeanor. The courtroom erupted. Reporters rushed to their phones. Cameras flashed. Claudine collapsed into Andy Williams' arms, crying. Spider Sabich's family sat in stunned silence. What did this verdict mean? It meant the jury believed Claudine hadn't intentionally killed Spider. But they also believed she had been negligent, careless with a deadly weapon in a way that caused his death. It was a compromise verdict, not quite innocent, not quite guilty. And then came the sentencing. Judge George Lower had wide discretion in sentencing. The maximum penalty for criminally negligent homicide was 2 years in prison and a $5,000 fine **. But Judge Lower was lenient. He sentenced Claudine to 30 days in jail to be served on weekends so she could go home during the week. 2 years probation. A $25 fine. That's it. 30 days, $25. For killing a man. The public reaction was immediate and furious **. Letters poured into the courthouse. Editorials blasted the judge. People protested outside. Justice for the rich, they said. If she wasn't famous, she'd be in prison. Spider's family was devastated. His mother gave a statement through tears. My son is dead, and the woman who killed him will spend 30 days in jail on weekends. What kind of justice is that? The case became a symbol of two-tiered justice **. One system for the wealthy and famous, another for everyone else. But Spider's family wasn't done fighting. In 1977, they filed a $1.3 million wrongful death lawsuit against Claudine Longet in civil court. Unlike the criminal trial, where the standard is beyond a reasonable doubt, civil cases only require a preponderance of evidence, meaning more likely than not. Spider's family and their attorneys believed they could win. The lawsuit alleged that Claudine had recklessly and negligently caused Spider's death, and that his family deserved compensation for their loss. The case dragged on for 2 years. Depositions, discovery, legal motions. Claudine, meanwhile, served her 30 days in jail, mostly on weekends, and went on with her life. Finally, in **1979**, The case was asterisk settled out of court for an undisclosed sum. The terms of the settlement were strict. The exact amount would remain confidential. Claudine agreed to never speak publicly about the case asterisk. Claudine agreed to never write a book, give interviews, or profit from Spider's death in any way. To this day, the amount of the settlement has never been revealed. Estimates range from $200,000 to over $1 million. Spider's family took the money and tried to move on, but the pain never left. After the settlement, Claudine Longet essentially disappeared from public life. She stopped performing, she stopped doing interviews, she became a ghost. But her story didn't end there. In the early 1980s, Claudine married Ron Austin ***. Yes, the attorney who had defended her in the murder trial. They married quietly and settled in Aspen, living a very private life. Some found this deeply disturbing. The attorney who saved her from prison became her husband. It raised questions about their relationship during the trial, about ethics, about whether there had been something more than a professional relationship all along. But Claudine never commented. True to her settlement agreement, she remained silent. She still lives in Aspen today, now in her 80s. She's occasionally spotted around town, but she never speaks to reporters, never gives interviews. The woman who was once a celebrity has chosen invisibility. Andy Williams * continued supporting Claudine even after the trial. He remained close to her for years, maintaining that she was innocent, that it was truly an accident. Andy went on to have a successful career for decades more. He died in 2012 at age 84. In interviews late in his life, he was sometimes asked about the Sabich case. He always defended Claudine and refused to discuss details. Spider Sabich's family * never got the closure they wanted. His mother, Eleanor, spoke bitterly about the case for years before her death. "They let her get away with murder," she said in one interview, "because she was famous, because she was pretty, because she had money." Spider's brother and other relatives have rarely spoken publicly, but when they do, the pain is still raw. The Aspen community * was divided. Some believed Claudine. Others thought she literally got away with murder. To this day, if you go to Aspen and mention the case, people have strong opinions. It's part of the town's dark history, a stain on its glittering reputation. More than 45 years later, the case still raises troubling questions. The forensic evidence strongly suggests no. The angle of the shot, the distance, the safety mechanism, none of it supports Claudine's story. But without a confession, we'll never know for certain what happened in that bathroom. Almost certainly, yes. The judge's incredibly lenient sentence, 30 days on weekends and a $25 fine, is hard to explain any other way. If Claudine had been a poor, unknown woman, would she have gotten the same sentence? History suggests no. Was it incompetence? Or were they starstruck, overwhelmed by the celebrity nature of the case? Either way, their errors destroyed the prosecution's case and may have let a killer walk free. Why did he stand by Claudine so fiercely? Was it love, guilt, a desire to protect his children's mother, or did he know something the public didn't? We'll probably never know. Andy took those answers to his grave. The illegally obtained blood sample suggested yes. Cocaine can cause paranoia, aggression, and impulsivity. If Claudine was high when she shot Spider, does that change the story? Does it explain a moment of rage? We'll never know, because that evidence was thrown out. Friends hinted at a toxic dynamic: jealousy, control, threats. Did something happen that day? An argument, a betrayal, a final breakup attempt that pushed Claudine over the edge? The truth died with Spider. The Claudine Longet case is a textbook example of several systemic problems. This case proved what many people suspected. If you're rich and famous, the justice system treats you differently. Claudine had unlimited resources for her defense. She had character witnesses who were themselves celebrities. She had public sympathy because of her carefully crafted image. An average person accused of the same crime would likely have gone to prison. The police errors in this case, the illegal blood sample, the illegally seized diary, destroyed the prosecution's strongest evidence. It's a reminder that even when pursuing justice, law enforcement must follow the rules. Shortcuts can let guilty people go free. Claudine's defense relied heavily on her image, delicate, innocent, incapable of violence. She played that role perfectly throughout the trial. Image matters, perception matters, sometimes more than facts. In all the media frenzy around Claudine, the celebrity ex-wife, the famous defendant, Spider Sabich almost became a footnote. But he was a real person, a son, a brother, a friend, a talented athlete with a bright future. He deserved justice. His family deserved justice. Instead, they got a 30-day sentence and a confidential settlement. March 21st, 1976, was supposed to be just another day in Aspen. Instead, it became the day an Olympic champion died in his own bathroom, shot by the woman he loved, or thought he loved. Was it an accident, or was it murder disguised as an accident? The jury said accident, or at least negligence. But the forensic evidence, the circumstances, and the relationship dynamics all point to something darker. Claudine Longet fired the gun. That's not in dispute. Whether she meant to kill Spider Sabich, whether it was a moment of rage or a terrible accident, is something only she knows. And she's never going to tell us. Because she made a deal. Silence in exchange for moving on with her life. Meanwhile, Spider Sabich is buried in a cemetery in California. His Olympic dreams, his racing career, his whole future, all ended in an instant. His family still grieves. His friends still remember. And somewhere in Aspen, Claudine Longet lives quietly, carrying whatever secrets she has about that day. Justice, that's for you to decide.